President. Good afternoon, everybody.
Good afternoon.
All right. Some of your faces look familiar, whereas for the most part, some of you look unfamiliar. That's it. Anyhow, what I'm going to share with you this afternoon has to do with coping strategies under the current crisis. And of course, that which I'm about to share with you can be used long after COVID would have left us. All right. I really trust that you will find the presentation quite interesting. All right. All right, so at the beginning of the presentation, I have a video to show you. And then you will look at the video and tell me exactly what you do. All right, give me a feedback. All right, just give me a second. It's delayed a little.
Hi everyone, I'm Pete. Hi everyone, I'm Pete.
We're gonna take care of it. All right, so we're good to go. Here we go.
Hi everyone, I'm Pete. And I'm Belle. And welcome to Youthful Minds. Last time we talked about triggers and warning signs. If you missed that video, stop what you're doing and click the card. It's okay, so because today we're going to about water signs and no trigger. In this video, we cover what coping skills are, what are the different kinds of coping skills, how do you know if the coping skills for you, and how many coping skills you need. So let's get started. In life, we're going to experience difficult emotions because it's life. Duh. We will feel angry, sad, mad, frustrated, and so on. But it's how we handle those tough emotions that matters. And coping skills how you deal with different emotional experiences in your life. So you can either have a healthy or unhealthy coping skill. For example, someone is making you mad at school. An unhealthy way to deal with it would be to push them or to call them mean names. A healthy way to cope would be take a deep breath or take a break. Unhealthy coping skills sometimes feel good in the moment, but they have a negative consequence that come with it. They can also hurt you or somebody else. There are a lot of different coping skills you can choose from. You can solve a puzzle, journal, take deep breaths, go for a walk, talk to someone, read a book, listen to music, watch TV, play a game, count to 10, take a shower, draw, exercise, play a sport. You can make a whole lot of coping skills, but that's not only what they will work for you. Take some of the suggestions we mentioned and try them on. Notice how they make you feel. Practice new skills when you're in a less stressful situation so that you know that it works for you when you're in a really tough situation. There's no definite answer as to how many you need, but the more the merrier. Some coping skills might work for one thing like anger, but might not work for you when you are stressed. Make sure you have one where you can use anywhere, like taking deep breaths or counting to 10, because sometimes we don't have access to a lot of materials. Oh, what's the time? It's okay to be angry. It's okay to be sad. It's okay to be worried. But it's how you deal with those difficult emotions that matter. What are some of your favorite coping skills?
Very, it's a very good note on which I could actually pause the video. The gentleman or the puppet, male version of a puppet there, mentioned quite a number of coping skills. How many of them can you recall? Aha, because that one was realized. Anybody else? Listen to music, take a walk, take a shower, what else? Which other one? Exercise. What else? Say that again. Play games. Right. He said, and of course he said something else, which is kind of limited by the quarantine and such like. He talks about outdoors. The fact of the matter, however, as we get deeper into the presentation, you are going to realize that some coping skills are positive, whereas some are maladictive. In other words, some are good and some are bad. We are going to see how that works out in the end. But just so that you know. And by the way, this in a nutshell is a simplified version of exactly what we do. Right? I tell you something. For the most part, you would probably do like when we were doing online class for your grade. You would be online in a particular class for maybe 45 minutes or 40 minutes there. What's the longest time you have ever done in an online class? 2 hours. I have had to sit in online class for 3.5 hours without break. And you can just imagine what that is like whilst you're working. And if things do not change, you might have to undergo that in probably the first maybe 3 semesters, 2 semesters of university after you would have probably graduated from these walls. So just bear that in mind. Stress comes in many different ways, many different forms. But before we go deeper into the presentation, let me just bring a couple of things to your attention. For instance, it is always good to give the people who are participants in whatever presentation you're making an idea as to what you intend to achieve through your presentation. And therefore, as you can see up there, the general objective, I hope it's not up there yet. The general objective here is that the intention for this presentation is to generate an awareness and also an appreciation of of excellent coping skills in students and encourage them to practice same. The truth is, for the most part, since COVID-19, you have been grappling with additional stress. There's no doubt about that, right? And if there were situations in the home, the COVID-19 situation would have only made that much worse, or a little bit more toxic. And therefore, you need to maybe you have never even sit down or sat down to process the whole idea as to how to cope under the circumstances when so many demands are coming your way, when so many things are happening around, right? You may have not gotten a chance to process and to think about how to relate. Sometimes people keep that inside and it becomes pent up or built up pressure. And we know what is said about pressure in pipe. When the pressure can't find anywhere to, what does it do to the pipe? Burst the pipe, right? So you have to bear that in mind. All right, so the specific objectives now, I just give you the general overview as what we intend to achieve. Let me share with you some specific objectives as it relates to the presentation. By the end of the presentation, all of you as participants should be able to formulate a working definition of coping, and that has to do with the psychological, the physiological, and also the social aspect of your well-being, basically. You should be able also to identify, and usually you hear people talking about psychosocial. Now we're talking about biopsychosocial framework, because your biological makeup has something to do with how you are able to maneuver yourself through a stressful situation or event, right? You need to be healthy in order to do that. So you should be able to identify the biosocial framework for understanding stress and coping with the same. You should also be able to analyze the importance of individual nature of coping. In other words, what I'm saying, not everybody will cope with the same situation in the same way, right? Not one size fits all. Are you still listening to me? Yes, sir. Right. And then the last one, you should be able to improve your coping mechanism during COVID-19 and even beyond that. All right. When we talk about your well-being, we are talking about your mental health. We are talking about you being able to identify, recognize, and use coping strategies in order to keep your mental health. And then, of course, we are talking about your overall wellness. Let's look a little closer at mental health. The pandemic has led to increased stress. Can somebody identify with that? Increased stress. Anybody in here have been increased stress since COVID-19? Why are you so quiet? If that is the case, of course you have. Not only that, it has also increased loneliness, especially with the possibility of not being able to interact with one another, that kind of a thing, distance, physical distancing, anxiety. So many of our students these days don't know what is coming next, right? And I overheard, where is he? He's not here. He was talking about the fact that when he came in, 8 units were expected. Now it's like 10. Anxiety come from not knowing what is coming next. And also, since COVID-19, with additional situation, you are also experiencing Many of our students, by the way, not just one, not just two. I have to relate to so many of you from time to time, going from depression to almost chronic and severe depression, right? And if you are that depressed, anything can happen, right? It can lead to suicidal thoughts and even to persons executing, the suicidal plans, right? So depression is an illness though, and it needs to be looked at just like how you would probably have a brain tumor or something. It is that serious, right? So these things are happening among not only college students, but even high school students. Coping skills. Let's look at that. Everyone, whether you believe it, yes or no, whether you know it, yes or no, everyone has unique coping skills. Some are adaptive and some are maladaptive. In other words, some are good, some are bad. You have people who are stressed and they drink and smoke in order to cope. Those are maladaptive because what you're doing, you're putting your body under additional stress via abusing substances. You have to bear that in mind. You might feel good for a little while, but after the high, you still maybe are left dry. Not only high, but you're left dry. So you have to take that into consideration, right? All right, so overall, yes.
Sister, don't want to ask, let me ask. So would you recommend sex as a coping mechanism?
All right, I did not get the opportunity to teach any of you here because by the time I got here, you would have passed the grade that I am relating to. And so I appreciate the question that Mr. Griffith asked, but let me say this. I'll say this. At age 24, you are still considered to be post-teenager. You did not know that. Another thing that probably you did not know is that your brain will not be fully developed until you're about 25. The 2.5 pounds of electrochemical computer that is situated in your skull, that is not going to be fully developed to handle all the responsibilities that come with sex. You may dabble, but the consequences are going to be severe. And even if you're having safe sex, there are still challenges that exist with that. And I will venture to say, Mr. Griffiths, that there are a number of diseases that are out there. You don't even have to actually have sexual intercourse, that is penetration to catch it. And one of the dangerous ones that is out there is the one we call hepatitis B. What hepatitis B does is to shut down your liver, and it can be caught through kissing and exchange of body fluid. And once the liver shuts down, by the way, if it is not diagnosed early enough, your liver will shut down, you will have jaundice-like symptoms, and not only that, you're going to be suffering excruciating pain. And then sooner than later, you'll die. Herpes simplex 2, where you see the what we call the night fever, that when you can contract that through kissing, and that can pop up anywhere, even over the eyelids. And once people see that, they know that, yeah. No, I'm not finished. You can't. Miss Buckner, sorry. I say also to my students, as I say, I did not get you guys to teach. I said to the guys in my class, and listen, this is no discrimination against girls. Hello, listen to me. No discrimination. But young men, if for some strange reason you decide to compromise and have sex, and the young lady takes off her lower garments and you get a whiff of an odor full of pants and yellow. Because what it means is that something deadly is inside you within you. Condoms are 99% sealed. There's a 1% chance. All right, let me say something else on the matter of condom. If you are unaware as to how to properly prepare the lady before you insert the penis, if the lady is dry, sooner or later the condom is going to rot. So foreplay and all of these things for adults must be a part of the game. Right? I did not intend to go off on that tangent, so let me come back. But I would really want us to have a one-on-one where that is concerned. If you so desire, it's something that we can put into play. You know, February 14th through to 18, I have had to teach my classes about safe sex, among other things. And I beg them to allow their parents to sit in the class with them so that they can learn a couple of things. Right? Because some parents will just not find the guts to talk to their children about. But some of the parents do. Right? But listen to me, and I need to balance the equation. I talk about the whiff that the guy, if he smells something wrong. Ladies, if for some strange reason the man uncovered his nakedness and you see blisters, warts or whatever, dash! I did that deliberately. I am happy that you are smiling and laughing because this is really what you need. You need a breather every now and then. Yes? All right, do not indulge. All right, let's get back to the presentation. So, overall wellness. Working on positive. Are you listening to me now? Please. Working on positive coping skills can help not only college students, but high school students to deal with the uncertainty of the pandemic and maintain their overall well-being. All right? Now, let's look at some other things that COVID brought with it. Increased anxiety, that's one. Increased anxiety and uncertainty. Feelings of loneliness or sadness. Right? Changes in eating and sleeping pattern. Many of my students are currently suffering from insomnia. One came to me the other day, 11th grader, and she says, "Sir, I am mad. I am mad." You know, and I could relate, and God would have it that we spend a good little session, and by the time the session was over, she was feeling a little better. Of course, we'll have to continue, right? Another thing that COVID brought in is feelings of helplessness and frustration. Some people just throw in the towel, can't be bothered, and they don't go any further. Changes in substance abuse. People start to smoke and drink in order to try and cope. And then this one, I believe, maybe all of you here can identify with information overload and burnout. Nobody know that. You people don't get too much. I think that information overload and burnout and updates, and then exacerbation of existing mental health concerns. You just feel exhausted, tired, worn out, that kind of a thing. All right, anybody of all the things I've just listed, can any one of you identify? Just show off if you can identify with any of the things I just said. Great. At least some of you are honest, not only to yourself, but to me. That's cool. All right.
If you identify with all of them, what
You need to see me ASAP. All right. You need to see me ASAP. All right. Let's look at some examples of the negative impact of COVID. Some examples. Of course, we know that we have had the national lockdown from time to time. Am I right?
Yes, sir.
Physical distancing and social isolation, especially for the persons who have contracted the disease. They have to be in isolation. True? By the way, I am tempted to tell you where the theory of isolation came from. It's not a Western thing. Really originated among the Jews with leprosy. And they got that from Ayahada. Unemployment is one of the things that came in. Financial hardship, crisis, left, right, and center. School closure, limited access to social services. I tell you, I live in Sabla, not in Sabsa, but on the periphery of Sabla. And I had two occasions to go to the tax office. And as far as Darlistan is away from the the line to get through in Savannah is, for want of a better road, atrocious. As a matter of fact, I went to Monday to be able to deal with some matters in the tax office, and it's for the same value, overcrowded. You know, and so on. Well, you say, right? Limited access to social services, travel restriction, we have had that. Increased violence and protection risks. We still have people that kill, murder, and plunder despite COVID, and some of them doing it in order to earn. Tensions within the health systems. You go to clinics and hospitals, you know, you have to face that and try and cope with that. Stigma and discrimination against those who recovered. True? Hello? Yeah. And exhaustion of frontline workers. And that, of course, has to do with mention. Common reaction now. So whilst these things are happening out there, this is the common reaction among our peers and our people. Fear, anxiety, depression, sadness, difficulty in sleeping, anger, grief, confused state of mind. Can you name anything else? Nothing else will come to mind? Of course, poverty, lack of financial gain and stuff. All right, let's move on. The guys are kind of already exhausted. Cycle of social well-being. It's a cycle of psychosocial well-being in emergencies. You have the event. That is like the tsunami that took place back over in Malaysia a couple of years ago. Naturally, the order of things and the flow of life was disrupted. Right? But then we find that the people did not give up. They exhibited what we call resilience. And they tried to bounce back and reestablish a sense of purpose and a sense of, you know, community and things like that. So how did they do that? There is this mantra that was resonating throughout the people's heart and their mind as they go back to rebuilding Malaysia. I can. So sometimes when you feel like I can't go any further, you need to talk to yourself positively. I can do this. I don't know if you ever heard the story of the tree. When it's going up the hill, I know I can, I know I can, and the hill steep, you know, but it's and it's going up and it's telling itself it can, and then gradually it goes over. I can. And then the next thing you want to tell yourself, I am. In other words, I am here. The challenges are there, and the challenges are here, but I am also here. And I will overcome these challenges. And I have. You've been overcoming some things from the day you're born. Not true. I heard a man in a presentation. He said when a baby just born, the stiffening up and the wailing is telling you that, hey, if I could kill you, I would. And he said the reason God made him so young and so cute is that the parents will not kill them first. That's so funny, that's true. But think about it, that when that baby starts to stiffen up one thing, it's in temper. And if it had the means and the way with that, it would destroy. All right? So bear that in mind. You are here, you have been overcoming some stuff from that time, and you can continue. All right, common reaction when disaster strikes. Majority of people show some change after a traumatic event, distressing event that is. These reactions are normal. That's the first thing that you need to understand. The way you react to some things are normal, especially if it's traumatic. They are normal. These reactions are normal, and psychological stress will improve over time. So over time, as you are relating to the matter, you'll gradually find some ways of coping with it and overcoming it. I'm going to talk to you a little bit later about stress and identifying the stressor. And once you can, and this is a challenge that exists among many of us. We cannot identify the stressor. And therefore, it's like your stress will never end. But once you can identify the stressor and decide to rise and deal with the stress. And by the way, I don't want to kind of go ahead on myself, but male and female relate to stressful situation differently. And now I'm going to tell you a little bit more about that. The male is kind of more solution oriented. And the female is the one that kind of, why I will give you an RL quote. Not in all senses, you have exceptions to the rule. But please bear that in mind, we're coming down to that. The majority will be distressed, only a small number will suffer from chronic stress or be traumatized. Everyone reacts differently, depending on different risks and protective factors. All right? We're going to go over some of these. Here are a couple of other situations that might affect our kids or students. Death of parents, other family members, friends and neighbors. Separation from parents, family, and even the community. Separation of parents. And that is when, a third party usually come in between, and father gone, son, mother gone, so, and then the children are left to grapple with all of that emotional burden. Sometimes these allow the environment in which the child or the student lives to become very toxic. And some of them end up hating one parent and loving the other. And they usually love the one that is permissive. Have I lost you? Yeah, they usually love the one that is permissive. The one that is kind of, and in the long run, the one that really want good for you is the one that is somewhat rigid from time to time, really want you to amount to something. And in the long run, that's the one you value. Because I said the one that was always permissive never mean you any good. And sometimes I have seen cases, Mrs. Cousin, I have seen cases wherein sometimes I wonder, it makes me sit and wonder for long hours if the mothers are competitive or as if they wouldn't want their daughters to go beyond where they reach or what they have amounted. So it's like there's a little bit of competition, a level of competitiveness, and because of that, they expose the daughter to some, I will not open that kind of and see the things. It makes me question whether or not they truly love their own children. Right? Displacement. Conflict, tension, and violence in family and community life. That can be additional stress. Flare up of violence here and there. Right? Amidst all of what is going on, these are additional tension pulling on your nerve ending, making you, that kind of a thing. displacement and refugee trauma, like what is happening now in Russia and Ukraine. Who millions of people have to be running away for fear of being killed in the war, right? Another thing that can contribute to that is weakness to other traumatic events, physical injury, sexual violence. This one is a little bit rough because we find that incest still lives. It's very strong in many of our homes. Cousins and uncles and aunts and fathers even. Strong. That is happening, right? So we have that, and we have violence or conflict in the household or in the environment that make it toxic. Poverty, school violence, when we are just coming back to school. And I am happy that whilst you and some of our 10th graders coming from time to time, we have not seen any confrontation along the violence line, at least to my knowledge. So I would need to commend your group on that. And by the way, if you don't know, I am the guidance counselor that is responsible for 11 to 30 grade. So you should know me and I should know you. As a matter of fact, before you reach here, you were supposed to set up what we call an exit profile. I heard somebody made mention of looking at grades from all the way of grade 7. You should do some extraordinary things whilst you are pursuing your academics, going through these walls, so that by the time you come to the end of your sojourn, you would have a nice little portfolio to showcase that which you would have achieved over the years. I am trying to get that in among the younger students that I am relating to at this time, right? But it's good that, you consciously move through the system and you don't move through in an haphazard manner. So that is like you're a chicken without a head, wandering loosely and to wherever you want without a sense of purpose and direction. Still with me?
Yes, sir.
All right. Family members who have serious mental issues. Just recently, I was talking to a student whose mother is kind of off the rockers, and it is affecting the student. Her noodles are not firing the way that they're supposed to. Noodles, bread. That's how we call them sometimes. All right. So let's look at what is stress. What is stress?
Schoolwork.
Anything else?
More schoolwork.
So what about boyfriend and girlfriend? You don't find no stress there?
Of course.
Yeah, somebody told me, I think last week, I said, sir, we can't bother with them. There's something no more. They're stressing me to the grave. Right? It's happening. Stress, however, listen up. Stress is a normal reaction to a threat or a disturbing change in the environment. And whatever is disturbing that peace that should resonate inside of you is called a stressor. How many of you can actually identify some stressors? Show me one. In a year. This is one. Oh, dear. All right. So, and these stressors cause both physiological, meaning physically they affect you, and psychological responses. All right. So bear that in mind. What is stress? It occurs when any demand is placed upon the body. So a demand comes to you and maybe you're not prepared to deal with the demand. And most time it is stressful when you don't have the know-how to handle it. You see, if you know how to deal with it, it probably just take some of your time and kind of stress your time is concerned, but it's not going to be as detrimental, right? Many of our people even our students are stressed out sometimes because they don't know how to use that to approach and resolving a problem, or some schoolwork, right? Stress is normal, automatic, physical reaction to the event. Bear that in mind. However, don't believe that you can survive without stress. Stress is a necessity. Sometimes it gets the best out of you. Right? It is needed. But when it becomes distressing, that's when you need to have a concern. Right? So, stress is necessary for, listen to this now, if you had forgot everything else, don't forget this. Stress is necessary for survival, for development, and for growth. Everything that challenges you bring on a little stress. But when you overcome the challenge, what does that do for you? Have you grown? Yes, you would have grown. Stress. Some stress are prevented. Take, for instance, you know that you are rum not green, but you will drink 1/4 rum. Half cube, you chase that with a bomb, a boom and bomb. And you get crazy, and for some strange reason, you got a vehicle to buy, and you're racing down and you tie up that thing around the tree. And everybody else that is in there, neck break, ribs break, all that. That could have been prevented, couldn't it? Yeah. So sometimes stress, sometimes, yeah, that is only a problem. But you know what the Almighty says? He says some of us become fool and die before our time. That means there's a time for us to die, 70 years. But when we play the fool, sometimes they go before the 70 years. So let's be wise. Bible says we should know our ears and apply our hearts to wisdom. And stress is manageable. Always remember that. All right. Now, what I'm going to share with you, maybe you know what the whole big stress business, but I'm going to dissect it in the 4 parts. We're going to deal with it, cut it up in 4 parts, and you'll be able to see. All right, so listen now. Disaster events create both physical and psychological stress because people perceive their life is under threat or a challenge. Now, 4 parts of stress reaction, 4 phases. The first part is acute. Write that down because I'm going to amplify it in a little while. Acute phase. Then you have the reaction phase. Then the repair phase. And of course, the reorientation phase. Do you know that some things can happen in life and it's like let us become disoriented? You want me to give you an image of a disoriented little critter? You ever watch Moderns? You don't know what they call Moderns? Some little ants on the ground and black and they run in every direction, all over the place. They don't. Yeah, that one is mad. Right? Yeah. By the way, why did we touch ants? You heard about the army ant? Army. They are one of the most intelligent little critters on earth. If they are passing through this area, if you have food and you run, but you can't run fast enough, they will clean off every flesh off of you and just leave the bones. They don't usually eat humans, but if you have a little something and it tastes like it is good. That's it. But the truth is they are very intelligent. And if they are coming through here, you'll find one set just line up on this and another set. And then the whole colony traveling through the middle. If they are going to cross the water, they climb on trees that hangs over the water, click the leaves and sail across. That's how intelligent they are. When they are coming through, 40 like snake, everything have to clear them back. Because when they leave, it's just bone they leave. Check it out on YouTube. They are, and that is why sometimes I say, Miss Buckner, No, that is why I say to people from time to time, unity is good, but it also has the potential to be bad. It boils down to what you are united for. Huh? Just bear that in mind. So we talk about the acute phase, the reaction phase, the repair phase, and the reorientation phase. Let's develop each one a little bit. The acute phase. At this stage, the acute stress reaction may last for minutes or hours or even days. Depends on how you are impacted by it. Okay? This is for the men for the most part. Of course, we have ladies who this happened to. We're talking about the fight or flight situation. Either you're going to stand up. How many of you know a whole time June? What I say? It must be a double or a gunman. None of you don't know that June. I'm not going to find out yet. Because Daniel Quarry was a boy to him last night. I think double frightening. That kind of a thing. But you have the fight or flight mode response, preparation for physical activity. And usually men are in this mode. Usually men. I will tell you a little bit about the females. Sometimes in order to feel secure and not threatened to the extent of being hurt, the female kind of succumb, and that is dangerous. They kind of just say, well, let me work with it for survival. The man don't usually want to put up a fight. We talk about that in a minute. In the acute stage, narrowing of focus decreases ability to think properly. So sometimes you don't get enough time to process what is happening and to work it out, all the semantics and so on in order to relate properly. Emotional reaction. That's the next one. Disbelief or consternation, lack of detachment. It's like you're frozen. I'm tempted to tell a little story, and I'm going to tell you. You might not find it funny, but I will do it. A couple of years ago, I was living in Santa Cruz. My wife was pregnant. And every now and again, I don't know if the baby was calling for it, but she liked to shape up the Alaska and put it in the freezer. And then it turned a little shave ice thing, and she enjoyed it. One evening while she was, the baby was, I guess, stretching, the belly gets stiff. By the way, once that happened, if I talk to the child, she would just swim and give her mother a break. Now, on this particular day, she was in there, the baby was stretching out, and she wanted a little shave ice thing in the freezer. So, dear, would you kindly go and get me the shave ice? That's good. I said, not this time. You're going to go for it. But because I haven't planned this, we had an entrance to the kitchen, and right said this is the walkway into the kitchen. Right here we have one of the settees. And I decided that when she goes to get her shave ice last night, I'm going to have a little fun. And so I was standing on the settee arm, and she picked up my thing, man. First of all, the reason she went to get it herself, I deliberately went around there, Miss Gosling. And I put the thing on my head, didn't drink any, but I make sure that my mustache showed that. I'm never drinking. Yeah. And she got so peeved and she went back, went into the fridge for the thing. And when she was in there, she looked and she breathed a sigh of relief, realizing that I did not drink again. And she was ipsy coming out of the kitchen, man, and I was standing on the arms of the settee. Because she can't see me, I'm back against the wall and she had to walk past. And while she was ipsy coming out, the belly pointing out and all of that. I looked down from way up as we're standing on I said, the two little foot, I can't move. Like a cartoon, the two little feet was spinning over. And I had a little laugh. But of course, she burst into laughter thereafter. Sometimes, when you are stressed, the foot can be spinning and you're not moving. You get the point? That's what I was leading up to, right? So, emotional reaction, consternation, lack of detachment, rigid behavior, irritability, anger, aggressiveness, violence, all of these things, sad, cry, etc. affects communication. Right? Panic rare, but immediate attention is needed. Me even going to panic attack. Then we talk about now the reaction phase. So that was the acute phase, the reaction phase. This one can last from 1 to 6 weeks. Okay? Have delayed reactions. Previously repressed or denied feelings may surface. So you may have gone through some things before and you kind of compartmentalize them in your brain, you lock them away. But this particular situation come and open the door, and now all of a sudden, it's like your mind become crowded and you start hearing voices and nobody in the vicinity talking to you. That is a challenge, right? Be overwhelming, being like you become all powerless. Some of you are full of lethargy, don't want to come out of the bed, you know. And some of you, you cope by just eating away. Put on eat. All right, and then you may show characteristics, reactions such as fear of returning to the site of the event. That is where something bad may have happened to you. Dream of nightmares relating to the situation. You know, no rest, insomnia as a result of that. Anxiety, restlessness, insomnia. Muscle tension. By the way, what is a good remedy when you're having muscle tension or what we call yes. Relax. There is a remedy, but if you're hypertensive, you can't use it. Just lick a little salt and it relaxes you quickly. Normally high school things together. And yeah, that's why if you get a sprain, it's good to apply the ice before it starts to expand, because the ice is going to restrict it from expanding. All right. So we have anxiety, restlessness, muscle tension, increased irritability, isolation, depression, disturbing thoughts about survival, relief, guilt, grief, all of those things. Phase 3, repair, moving into repair. At this stage, the stress reaction repair phase may last for 1 to 6 months. So on everything you just get over quickly. But no, some of them lingers, right? Different reaction less intense, different reaction less intense and not so overwhelming. So you start to react to something differently over time. Feeling of pain and having hurt continue, but you know, little by little you are coping with the situation as the time extends. An interest now taken in everyday life. So when you're in the repair phase, at the time maybe you're just like a throw in the toilet, but little by little you start to come back into your own. You start to reach out again, and you start to, you know, take interest in everyday life again. Plans start to make for future development, for the future. And then the last stage of the stress situation is the reorientation phase. Reorientation phase. At this stage, the stress reaction reorientation phase lasts for approximately 6 months after the stressing event and continue. Now, heightened stress reactions substantially reduce. How you feel about the situation at the get-go at the beginning? You do not feel like that anymore. Grief reaction may not be resolved, but is accepted. So if you have lost a loved one that was putting under stress, little by little you start to accept the fact that, well, mama really gone, she's really asleep, or you know, something of that nature. Most reaction will diminish gradually. Assessing ongoing needs is continuing. It is important at this particular phase. I have quite a bit of other things, and I think I'm going to jump over some other stuff. I really want to share everything with you, but the time is fast spent, and I have to be conscious of that. If you so desire, we can probably come back in another setting and we'll share some of, because it is very important. If you don't know how to identify and deal with some things, it can actually pulverize your head, your brains, and put it down. And we really don't want it. Here's that video presentation. I'm going to skip it. Let me quickly talk about coping, because that is really what I'm here to talk about. So I have to show you what causes you to want to cope, and then I show you one or two things about the coping. And then that will be it for me until we probably get into another situation where I can share some other stuff. And feel free, you're free to give me a call or get my number. If you want my number and you have issues and you want somebody to talk to, you can reach out. I don't charge you, you're on students. Amen. All right. What is coping? The ways in which we respond to or manage a situation. Hello? Did you get that? What is coping? The ways in which we respond to or manage the stress, uncomfortable emotion, the ways in which we respond to life's demand. That is coping. Can anyone here give me an example of it? Yeah. You listen to music. Yeah. Cry. Yeah. By the way, I might not get there, so may I just tell you from the get-go, you need fresh air. You need, and we are looking at there's a slide that I'm going to put up there with the whole biopsychosocial thing, and you will see the different aspects of your wellness coming together. From a social point, from a psychological point, and from the biological point. But where the biology is concerned, you have to take care of your person in order to that when the impact comes, you cannot actually withstand the impact. And so you need fresh air, you need a proper diet. Many of us compromise our system by the things we consume. Amen. Yeah, you have to be very careful with that, because if your system compromises and has serious impact on you, what's going on? Won't be under the man who builds his house on the sun. All right. So be careful. You need rest. And I often tell my students, and they will tell you, I beg them, I said, sometimes over the weekend you need to take an hour or two out and just chill out. You chill and yeah, but you have to make it. By the way, all the successful people in this world are given the same 24 hours that you are given. You know what's the difference? Time management. You need 8 of that hours just for rest, sleep. So it's a good thing to go to bed at 10 and wake up by 6. You have the others, and just like how you would have your money and you would cut up your money in different little segments for different purposes. They are, when you take 8 from 24, how much is that? 16? You have 16 to maximize. You chop that up in small bits and pieces and apply it. You don't need probably more than an hour and a half tops to probably eat your 3 meals. But they are different half-hour segments, right? And then you need another half an hour, or put it 15 minutes bath in the morning, 15 in the evening, so that's half hour. You regularize the time, you pencil it out. And when you would have done that, most of the things that take you by surprise and freshly later, they would be null and void. They wouldn't be there. So you have to actually get to the point where you handle your time management carefully. All right, we asked a question, is coping always positive or adaptive? Remember I said that to you earlier, that there are some of them that are adaptive or good or positive, but then there are others that are maladaptive. You see the man sitting on the roadside here, stress out there. Yeah, man, oh, it's not up there yet, but it's, I thought that's a change, it goes up there. All right, but here, maybe it's come on the screen in short. right? The fellow is sitting on the roadside with a bottle in his hand. And then you have somebody doing yoga, exercising, and that one is positive. The other one with the guy sitting on the roadside is naturally maladaptive. And of course, we can list quite a number of them. And you have to be careful of the kind of music that you listen to. I was talking to somebody who was a strong drug dealer in Detroit. Right. So now we talk about the problem focused, directed towards reducing or eliminate a stressor. So you identify the stressor. And like a hitman, you decide to take out the stressor. Hopefully it's not somebody that is your stressor. Are you with me? But you identify the stressor. Adaptive behavioral people, let me see that. People using problem-focused strategies try to deal with the cause of the problem. Not the problem itself, but who is causing the problem. They try to eliminate that. They do this by finding out information on the problem and learning new skills to manage the problem. Problem-focused coping is aimed at changing or eliminating the source of the stress. You have quite a number of people who actually do that. They go to the root of the matter. They don't bother with the little surface thing that is coming up. They go right to the root. Many times when you are ill and you go to the doctor will give you medication for the symptoms, not necessarily for the root of the problem, right? In this particular case, the source is highlighted and is also eliminated, right? The three problem focus or the three problem focus coping strategy identified by focus. Anyway, let me not touch that. Let me go to number 3, types of coping. So we talked about a while ago. You have the appraisal focus, problem focus. Now we talk about the emotion focused, directed towards changing one's own emotional reaction. Involve releasing pent up or built up emotions, distracting oneself, managing hostile feeling. This is dealing with the emotion. You're managing your feelings now. Meditating or using systematic relaxation, right? Procedures such as yoga and among other things. Emotion-focused coping is oriented toward managing the emotions that accompany the perception of stress. All right. That I think I'm going to stop here for today. I know the time gone, but we have quite a bit. If, as you can see, we have a lot of information there, and it is for your benefit. So I am actually hoping that in another setting, we can probably get to look at some of this information so that you can better be prepared as to how to deal with situations that may arise from time to time. One that may threaten your well-being and also your emotional state of mind and your psychological state of mind, your physical being. All right? Any questions so far? All right. Thank you so much. All the best. It was a pleasure.
All right, pleasant afternoon, everyone. We won't be with you much longer. We do understand that the days are spent, but understand that you will be having several more sessions like this one, maybe not as long, but session geared towards your personal empowerment. I'm going to be inviting our Dean of Discipline to come, who is going to be talking to you very briefly about a few matters. Shouldn't take more than 5 minutes. For this particular undertaking, you will be given your certificate. For this particular undertaking, you will be getting a certificate of participation, which speaks in number of hours of professional development that you would have covered for today, and that will also serve as your proof of participation in these events. So should the records indicate that you are short on your professional development hours, then you can take that back to us and as your proof that you would have completed the requirements. So for those who did not make it here today, oh well. All right, please make welcome our Dean of Discipline, after which we're going to be taking the vote of thanks, and we'll be giving you a few instructions to go into the rest of the midterm break. Please receive Mr. Pitts, the Dean of Discipline.
I'll only be here for probably 15 minutes or less. I crave your participation. If you participate, the more you participate, the quicker we'll get through this presentation. So it's only 5 slides. So your participation determines how quickly we get out of here. Before we delve into this, we are going to have a short skit with some of our students.
After school, me go matriculate 2 years after this, me go college, and then me people if you was a doctor, you know, mom not even have a heart. Maybe teacher. I mean, woman just want to get my parents, but that's a situation. You know, I just feel like, but girl, was so cute, boy. Hey, tell you to me one of that face. Sure, you have money, girl. You know, see your parents don't have to. And he's saying like, you got to take care of me. Girl, stop being so. You let people with me. Take over. Come on. All right.
Hello, you're speaking to Michael Schofield. I'm calling you from the Publishers Clearinghouse. Are you familiar with the Publishers Clearinghouse? Yes, ma'am. Telling you that you won yourself $1.5 million in a brand new 2020-21 event. How do you feel, madam? No, I can assure you this is not a scam. If this is a scam, I promise I will reimburse you your money back to you. Yes, ma'am, I'll embarrass your money back to you. Yes, I'll send you the info now. Yes.
See, girl.
What one, baby?
Yeah.
Oh, be tell you what I want.
Tell me.
Oh, a man like me feel me like it. Yeah, man, need to take care of you. You know, so I'm do me chop a line. I mean, we get cherry. What you say? Yeah, give it a chance. Just put the digits in this one.
Of course.
Put the digits in this. My girl, what you say? You put in the digits or what? All right, baby.
Miss. Hi, Miss. I was at school today, and I was talking to my friend and telling her about my time here plan. Okay. And she was telling me that a boy likes me, and he's going to pick my cherry. No, Carly, you don't be cold. Because you think you're taking on your parents so that you do this.
You know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna make you sign up for the career guidance and get you a scholarship.
Okay.
Come.
Someone think that's to me. Want someone to take care of me?
Bing.
Oh my God. Bling, 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 bling. Oh my God, of course. I hear him. Put him on the speaker. Bing, 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 bing. Oh, go on, Empress.
Let me tell you.
So what you deal with you now? When you call lick the done?
You want me to link you?
Yeah, man, why you lick? Come on, me put right now.
But with your school.
Here what? We just didn't go to some a line up here. We just step down signal file line. What you say?
Teacher call me mother.
Look here, no worry about no teacher right now. Just come up. Alright, may I look out for you?
Alright.
We're going, baby. Where you see already second road. Alright. 1 month later.
Go show me, go show me.
Mr. Baby.
No, this is unacceptable behavior. When you come to the office right now.
Here, I told me pick your cherry already. Go on, me knock you already. I see me out.
Cardi Murray, you are suspended for 1 week. Bob, you expelled from the school. Don't come back.
You know what me say? Million. Good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Miss Ricky. I'm your Dean of Discipline, and today we'll be talking about discipline. Now, let me just give you a quick synopsis of the end result of that. Carleen took Bob's money and attended university, while she influenced Carlia to take the money and
Get our cherry pick.
Get our cherry pick. Carlia got pregnant because she succumbed to the bad influence while Carleen enhanced herself. Right? So we have to be careful of the friends that we keep and be careful of the influences we take heed to. All right, moving on. Quickly, what is discipline? Anyone? Someone? What is discipline? If I should say I'm giving away credit, nobody will know. What is discipline? Ability to hear.
Discipline is the ability to do what you are told from the proper channels of authority.
All right.
And so self-discipline is one, motivating yourself to ensure that they follow the proper rules and regulations.
All right.
Like how I was disciplined and answering your question, I know I can get my question.
All right. Thank you so much. And I'm glad you brought up self-discipline because we are going to just touch it a little bit. But discipline is a field of study or training to fix incorrect behavior and create better skills. Right? It is a training that is expected to produce a specific character or pattern of behavior, especially training that produces moral or mental improvement. Now, here in school, we're all knowledgeable that we have discipline, right? What is the importance of discipline in school? Anybody, somebody? Why is it important that we have a disciplinary structure in our institution? Come on, Luigi. You never know what is in the goodie bag. Come on. Ask Akino about me. I'm true to my words. If I say I'm giving away goodies, I'm giving it away. Come on, Luigi. You can't leave me hanging. Why is it important that we have a disciplinary structure in school?
It is important that we have a disciplinary structure in school because the school would not be able to function properly. And without discipline in school, a school would not be able to function on a whole And the student, none of the students would ever attend to anything.
Right.
Because students have to listen to us and they have to come and class on time. And they have to listen, like they have to do the subjects that like when they engage. Miss, like I get a timetable, you have to make sure you do your subject and
Yes.
not all of this. Because you can't go with subject you feel like or
True.
like if teachers could have gone with subject and pick what they want with the people that disorganized and disjointed.
Yes, Luigi, very much so. Thank you very much. So discipline is not just a moral value, but it is the most powerful virtue necessary to be successful in life. One cannot achieve goals of life without being disciplined. When we're talking about a film personnel or a sports person, they have to be disciplined, right? The athletes can't go out there and train enough and come out on top. Is that possible? It's possible, Jordan. That is possible for you not to train and then go out there and still get the gold medal. No, it's not possible. You need to train, you need to be committed, you need to be dedicated, you have to discipline yourself that look here, every day at 5 I'm going to go out, put in 2 hours of training and all of that, determination and drive. Thank you. So it takes years to acquire the trait of discipline. And that is why schools play a crucial role in imparting discipline and creating a well-balanced individual. As Luigi said, everybody would have been disorganized. We would have a school of chaos. And we can't afford that. So what is the significance of discipline in school? It is a process that helps us to master our art in the school setting, and a child will never be successful in his adult life if he has not followed a disciplined life since childhood. So the school plays a key role in imparting discipline. Still there. All right. So, for instance, just to know when Carleen was in a compromising position in Bob's lap, because that was it. Had it been that the teacher came up to her and said, "All right, Carleen, you're good. What you're doing is fine. I am with you on that." Would that be good for the outcome of Carleen? No, that is not it. Carleen's behavior is unacceptable. That's it, unacceptable. So we have to have measures in place to deal with those behaviors so that students can learn, or onlookers can learn that, look here, if I indulge in this act, if I participate in this act, I can reap the end result of this as well, right? These are consequences. And let me just show you this. This is something that I love to use. I love to use it. It's a safety or disciplinary report form. And once you are in violation of the school rule, I'm going to call you to my office and I'm going to write up one of these. And this goes a far way. I'm not someone who uses the pen very often. I'll talk and I'll talk and I'll talk, but when you get me to use the pen, I will use it. This goes a far way. Stays on your file when you come back for a recommendation letter or a transcript or something from the school, they pull up this and they write it. It is a part of it. Now, if you are trying to be employed and in your recommendation letter, they see that, Luigi, you're one of my students, my better students, so I can just refer to you, not saying that you're,
No, Miss,
in violation of any school rule, but just to say, Luigi was insubordinate or defiant to those in authority, right? Now, in the workspace, that personnel won't be quick to employ you, right? Or if Luigi is one that causes outbursts or tends to create riot and all of that, would that look good on your document? So you have to be mindful of the actions that you take here on school. And what we normally do is have in-house disciplinary actions as opposed to suspension or expulsion. We have detention. And in my detentions, what I do is have students do some groundworks. There's always the lawn to be raked, or garbages to be taken up, or paintings for the graffitis on the wall, or all of that. So those are some of the things that you can do to safeguard yourself from getting one of these on your file.
Community service.
Community service. And then you can in turn turn those community service into voluntary hours. Who knows? One of these fine days, principal might see you raking and say, you know, Luigi has changed. And because of that, I am going to sponsor Luigi to enhance his educational journey in life, you know? Right. Luigi touched on something, self-discipline. That's another aspect of discipline. So we have two forms of discipline, organizational discipline and self-discipline. Under the organizational discipline, that is where the school's disciplinary office comes into place, and we have self-discipline. What is self-discipline? Anybody? Luigi mentioned it. I don't want to hear from Luigi again. We have Shania, we have Glenroy, we have Carlia. Come on, people, talk to me. Jordan, talk to me, talk to me. Damoy, talk to me. Jahim, talk to me, man. What else is in the bag? You know what in the bag? No? Self-discipline. What is self-discipline? Morals. Anybody else? Control. Anything else? All right, so it is the ability to get yourself to act regardless of your emotional state, your ability to control yourself, and your determination to achieve set goals. So once you say you're going to do something, stick with it. What is the foundation of self-discipline? Now, the foundation of self-discipline is the ability to control one's thought, your actions, your attitudes, and your feelings. And those are important things. And willpower comes into play where this is concerned. Anybody knows what willpower is? No? Willpower is the inner strength to decide to act and handle and execute any aim or task until it is accomplished, regardless of inner and outer resistance, discomfort, or difficulties. Sorry. So, if I say to myself, I am going to achieve a 99.3 average from my mock exams, I know that I'll have to be up studying while everybody else is sleeping. I'll have to be up studying. I'll have to practice the maths. I have to go into the physics and all of that. And though the friend might tell me, say, yo, dog, make we go pick 2 ball later, no, or yo, dog, make we go play PUBG or Free Fire or whatever. I have to be committed and decide that I am going to study. I'm going to set this time aside to study, because through studying, then I will get the 99 point, that average. Then I'm going to excel at my subjects. Then I can move on to university, get into a good university. From a good university, I can do well at university, into getting an awesome job, right? Right? Yeah. Thank you very much. Now, manifestation of self-discipline. It is the ability to stick to your actions, thoughts, behavior, and that leads to improvement and success. So as I said before, if you commit yourself to doing something an hour a day, after you finished your school studies and all of that, go back over it when you get home. Just set aside an hour to recap. That goes a long way. I can assure you it will pay off. Now, how will self-discipline help you out? Anybody? What does being self-disciplined do for you personally on an individual level? Talk to me. You don't have a regime that you stick with, Jahim? Right, so how does having that set regime help you out? Helps to keep you on track. Anybody else? Help you to achieve set goals. Anybody else? Helps you to be focused and determined. Good, it helps to boost your self-esteem. When you're on track and you see, so you're getting things done and you're accomplishing things, doesn't that help anybody to feel good? Yes. Good. It helps you to accomplish your goals, as I said, help you to become more decisive, help you to develop inner strength, and give you the ability to change your life any way you like. Now, self-discipline is important. Why? It helps with time management. As Jahim had indicated earlier, it helps with leadership, decision-making, achievements, stability and structure. It helps to maintain peace in society, and it helps to improve mental health. Anybody can tell me why it helps to improve mental health? No?
Some people just need to sit there in their life because otherwise they will stress out and sometimes they not go.
Right, structure, correct, structure. What was that, Jahid?
Less stress.
Less stress. All right. All right. Moving on, because we're going quickly. Principles of self-discipline. It is easier to face difficulties than it is to avoid them. So when you have a difficult task, if you say, look here, we can't do maths, so I'm not going to do it. And Mr. Griffith spoke earlier about one of the prerequisites to the associate degree, completion of math, right? If you have it in your mind, look here, I'm not good at maths, you know much time I try to let me still fail, so you shy away from it. That won't work. It is better you delve into it, try it, but you put in the hard work behind it. Who knows? I did math twice before I got it, 2 times. And I am proud to say I came out with a 3. Very proud. I came out with a 3. And I'm very proud of my 3.
I did it twice and I came up with a 5.
Try again, Luigi. Try again. Don't give up. Keep trying, right?
That's 3 years.
It is more important to do than to do well. It is more important to do than to do well. Anybody gets that? It is more important to do than to do well. It makes no sense you shy away from the activity or say, I'm not good at this, so I'm not going to try. Who knows? In doing it, you might actually come out on top. You hear Miss Latouche spoke earlier that she wasn't good at it and she thought she was shy and scared to delve into the act of applying for a particular position or whatever. And she tried and she came out on top. So she wasn't going in there to do well, you know, she was just doing it. Because she had fear in her. Look here, Cornwall College, Mommy, all of the top schools. Do it just the same. Right? Reward yourself for what you did right and penalize yourself for what you did wrong. Rewarding yourself goes a long way, a very long way. Once you get to the place where you say, look here, when we come out, I said that I was going to get all 9 CXC subjects, CSEC subjects, and I got all 9 of them. If I said I was going to get 5 in 1 and 4 in 2, and ending up get 4 in 1 and 4 in 2 and 1 in 3, I still got all 9. So I'm still going to reward myself because at least I accomplished my set goal. Get some Kentucky, have a self-care day. Look here, get the nails done, do the hair, and get a little massage and all of those things, right? Buy yourself a phone, all of those things. Now, what are some of the ways you think you can develop self-discipline? Stay with me. We're winding down. What are some of the ways you think we can develop self-discipline? Organizing. Anything else? Anybody else? Managing your time. Take responsibility. Take responsibility. Realize the fact that effort is needed to achieve any task. Nothing done means nothing achieved. Lower your limits. Know your limits. Good. That's an amazing one. Also, visualize completing the task. Think about the steps that you are going to take in order to get the task done. And remember your accomplishment. Keep a journal of all your successes and read it often. The more joy you get in completing set tasks, the more motivated you will be for your next endeavor. Anybody believes that? Yes. Good. Be firm. Seek to do things that you avoid, because this keeps you nimble and helps you to develop the habit of doing what is good rather than what feels good.
And always remember that successful people are people who have the self-discipline to do things that others avoid. And as I close, we're still together. I leave with you this quote: your level of success is determined by your level of discipline and perseverance. Thank you for your participation and your cooperation.
At this time, we're going to move for the vote of thanks to bring this event to its close. We welcome Ashana Irving, who is going to be doing that. Please make Ashana Irving welcome.
Okay, good afternoon, everyone.
Good afternoon.
Well, the pleasure is mine to say a grand big thank you to all the individuals who collaborate to make this our sixth form professional development day a success. First, to Ms. Horton, who is not here, for establishing the tone and atmosphere by seeking Jehovah's guidance and blessing on this day proceeding. Second, to Ms. Butler, for warmly welcome and for skillfully managing the program's activities. Next, to our principal, Mrs. Maxine Evans, for your words of encouragement and using educational opportunities to transfer and impact our future. Next, to our students, to our Dean of Student Affairs, Mr. Griffiths, thank you for going over our checklist and getting us on track, and thank you for the words of wisdom and guidance. Next, to Mr. Don, our guidance counselor for your session and physio-social support, which look on coping strategies on a crisis, providing us with tips to de-stress, which is much needed right now. We are better able to identify crisis and apply appropriate coping techniques. Thank you, sir. Next to Ms. Ricketts, thank you for creatively and entertainingly having a chat with us about discipline and its importance in our school, wider community. Your presentation was informative and educational. Thank you, Madam Dean of Discipline. And to my peers, I want to thank you for your presence. All hard work that went into planning this day was for me, you, and us. So remember, see the opportunity in every situation. Make the best use of every opportunity to impact your future. Give off your time and talent to better yourself and our world. Find ways to cope with the crises that arise. Ask for help when needed. Discipline, especially self-discipline, makes us a